really showing your daughter in this time unconditional love. This is teaching you how to unconditionally love. That is the mother's role. Unconditional love.
So today we are looking at what you all have to say. We put out a video asking for write-ins because we want to hear what you want to listen to, if that makes sense. So we're going to be reading an email that we got in today, and we're going to dive into this email. We are going to give our honest opinion, our honest feedback. We didn't really talk about it beforehand. We actually just picked the email kind of randomly right before we felt called to the specific one. And don't worry, we're going to be doing more. We're going to get to the other emails as well, but you're going to hear our opinions fresh from our chest, basically.
And also the multiple layers to it and the different versions of it. So I'm so excited actually to get into this one because it actually touches into something so personal that we were navigating through today.
Yeah.
So I just feel like that's very significant.
Yeah. And with that being said, like with the Multiple Truths podcast, we are going to be giving all different perspectives based off of how we feel. So you're even going to get multiple truths from us. Hence the name of the podcast. Yes. So, and we want to hear from you guys. So if you're looking for support in any way and looking for guidance, we genuinely want to be able to support you and help you because we're all in this together and you don't have to struggle alone. So we would love to hear from you.
And can I add something quickly?
Yeah.
If any of you listen to this and you have another opinion, talk about it in the comments because I'm sure a lot of you listening have a lot of wisdom and guidance to share as well. So if there's anything we miss or anything you want to add, please let us know in the comments.
Perfect. So I'm going to be reading the email. I want to say too, I just shared with Brittany and Natalia that I have a young wound of reading in front of people because I would have to read in grade school and I would mess up on what I was saying. Like I would get flustered. Public speaking always flustered me. So it's a really deep wound of mine to even be reading in front of other people. And I know this is even healing for me to be able to do this. So just if anyone, I just feel called to share that because there's so much growth that's even going to happen with me reading this email. It's just getting out of the uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for stepping out of your comfort zone and voicing it. There's no shame in voicing these things either. So it's funny because I was like, Holly, can you read it? Because she's the one that read it to us. I was like, Holly, you read that so well. Do you mind reading it? And she's like, I have a wound there. I'm like, oh,
I just get nervous. And I'm like, that's obviously stemming from something, anytime you're nervous, it's stemming like anxious. It's stemming from a younger part. So it's just, I just want to share that. Be vulnerable right out of the gate. So
beautiful. I love it. It shows when you're talking. So.
Okay. So this subject line is mother and daughter conflict. I'm going to keep the name anonymous. So if you write in, it will be anonymous. But my 30-year-old daughter, who is now a mom of a 2-year-old, keeps increasing distance and continues to blame me for all and any trauma in her life. I feel so consumed with figuring out how I can support, change, understand, and follow all of her boundaries, but it seems whatever I do is wrong. My paradigm and hers are completely different. Memories she has are nothing I can even recollect, and every outreach I have tried has been misconstrued into me being a villain. She tells me she is undergoing trauma counseling and is on medication because of me. I am heartbroken to have this separation from her. Since she got engaged to, married, and now a child, our relationship keeps deteriorating and her walls and boundaries have continued to grow higher and higher. I need help in understanding how to interact with her. Understand how I can fully repair and rebuild our relationship, or do I completely separate and not see my granddaughter? This situation has been getting progressively worse over the past 6 or 7 years. She was my everything and we were so close and laughed so much, and I feel like everything I believed about our relationship was false. I don't know what to do or how to proceed or what spirit is trying to tell me. Can you help figure out what I need to do?
Okay. So there's a couple things that I really want to speak on right away that was really coming to my mind. First of all, I just want to say that my heart goes out to you. I can feel the love that you have for your daughter, the wanting to understand, the wanting to rebuild that connection. I really feel the emotion there. And I just want to validate that, this cannot be easy. This must be very difficult. So I just want to say that right away. One thing that really popped into my mind, and I'm going to speak to a personal example with me and my relationship with my mom next, but perspective. You mentioned how you don't recollect a lot of what she is telling you. And it's interesting because everybody experiences life through their own eyes. So what you perceived a situation to be can be very different for your daughter. So I just wanted to speak on that right away. And it doesn't take away from your truth or her truth, because again, multiple truths. So there's something there. And of course, that's where, the understanding of the different perspectives is necessary to rebuild that connection. With that said, and this is hard. It is a two-way street. I know personally with me and my mom, I actually held a lot of resentment toward my mom for a long time. There was a lot of anger because growing up, there were things, without getting into detail, that I felt were really unfair, and I blamed my mom for a long time. And that's hard. A part of me felt guilty because I knew my mom loved me, but I also physically my body would physically tense up. Like it's this physical thing that I hated was there, but I couldn't help it. And I would react, I would retaliate, I would get triggered. And only when I ventured on my journey even more, met myself even more, was I able to understand deeper that I cannot blame my mom. And that takes time because, talking about compassion, when you're on the healing journey, for those of you who might be daughters who might, have this with your moms, like from somebody who had this with my mom, like that resentment, I really had to work on myself. My mom wanted a relationship with me. She really did. And she was trying. And it makes me emotional because I couldn't accept it because there was so much anger there. And she also didn't recollect some of the things that I would bring to her. And I hated that. But on my healing journey I needed to stop playing the victim. It's not my fault what transpired, but it is my responsibility to heal. And on my healing journey, meeting myself more, I better understood my mom and I had more compassion for my mom, which then broke some of those walls down. And in turn, healing was able to happen. However, my mom, that was up to me. That was up to me to get there. My mom never gave up on me. My mom never gave up on me, even though it was probably really hard. I'm getting emotional. Even though it was probably really hard for her because she wanted that relationship with me. And she could see that I was so blocked until I turned inward. And that might be hard for you to hear because part of it is up to your daughter to turn inward and to learn compassion.
Can I say too?
Please. Yeah.
I think that's a really good point too, to say, don't give up. Mm-hmm. Your mom never gave up. So don't give up on this relationship with your daughter because mother-daughter relationships are so special and so needed. Yeah. Don't.
And what I will say, even though I had this resentment, I so desperately craved an authentic, true relationship with my mom, and I still do. And because of my journey, we are starting to build a true, authentic relationship, and it makes me so happy. It really does. And I want you to know that it is possible to have a beautiful relationship, you know, mother-daughter relationship. I know Holly's going to talk about hers, but like I look up to Holly and her mom's relationship so much. It's so beautiful. It's like, that's what I want with my mom. And I know that I'm getting there, but really it was up to me and my mom. Even when I was mean to her, even when I shut her off, even when, sorry, I shouldn't apologize. But even when like I shut her off, she was there. She was always there and she never stopped trying. So that's kind of like the first thing that I wanted to say. I don't know if you want to piggyback off that, but basically like it's hard. It might be hard to accept that it's not only up to you, but it's always showing her that you're there, and also starting to turn inward as well. Because when things shifted for me and my mom, I noticed she started turning inward as well. And when she was able to turn inward more, she was able to be more open and more receptive to me, as opposed to like, because when I first started bringing these things to her, she was very defensive, very, what, that never, you know, this, that, why can't you get over it? And I'm not saying you're doing that. It sounds like you're trying, like it really, really does. But it took some time for my mom to turn inward as well and start reflecting as well, because there are multiple truths. What I remember is real for me. And I'm sure what you remember is real for you. The stories might not always line up. And you know, it and also with like trauma, like sometimes trauma, like you could have trauma from your mom being late picking you up from school as a kid because thinking your mom forgot about you. Those are two very different experiences. As a kid, oh my God, my mom forgot about me. She's not here to pick me up. Trauma. And then your mom is just like, oh my gosh, there's traffic trying to get you. See what I'm saying? There's two very different truths there. Even though, does that make sense?
Yeah. Both are true.
Yes.
Both are true and both are valid.
Yes.
Yeah. I really loved how you were talking about like your mom not giving up, because I feel like it's something that we all need and we all want. It's like this being unconditionally loved and like, don't give up on me. Nobody wants to be given up on. And that was so beautiful. I felt that emotion.
And what I want to say to that is my mom, she never gave up, but she knew when to like give me space. Do you know what I mean? She learned how to like, yes, like when she knew like when she needed to back off, even though that might have been really painful for her. She did, but I knew if I came to her, she would still be there. You know what I mean? So it's like not pressing and pushing, because you're going to push them away more, but it's not giving up. You get what I'm saying? It's that balance.
I love that you're bringing that up, because a lot of the times we like to put on like these expectations, like, oh, because I'm here and I'm ready to have a relationship with them, they should be ready to have a relationship with me. But that's not how it works, because we're all on our own journeys and the time is different. Like where you are doesn't mean I'm gonna be there, you know? So I love the fact that it's so important, even though you feel like it's ready, that like now's the time, that doesn't mean that the other person has to feel like that too, you know? And I really do believe in divine timing, divine order, and that there is a reason why the separation is taking place, as hard as it is, as brutal and heartbreaking. You know, I'm a daughter, but I'm also a mother myself. And I know, and I've had such an interesting relationship with my mom as well. And we've gone through so many ups and downs and separations and not separations. And I'm so grateful, because it's so interesting. I'm like having this like realization right now. You said, you know, like you talked about your mom not giving up on you and like always like holding the container. My mom was never like that. She was never the one to take initiative or to be like, I'm sorry, Nat, like I hurt you. She didn't want that. And this is not to point the finger at her or to blame her at all. This was about me. I had nothing to do with her, you know? And I'm so happy that, you know, through moving back in and rebuilding this relationship with my mom, I was able to come to this place and understand that it's really up to me and how I view the world. as soon as I was able to shift my perspective on like my mom, it made me re-enter the relationship in this whole new way where I actually felt the shift within my mom and the way she viewed me changed, because our perception is so important, and the world and the universe gives you what you are, not what you want. And so because moving in with my mom as a single mom myself, like because my perception was so skewed and it was coming from like this wounded place, it was only through her triggering me and bringing up those wounds and me going through like months and months of just laying in my bed and being in my darkness for me to come out and like choose myself and love myself through it, to then look at her and be like, I love you unconditionally because I'm able to love myself unconditionally too. And so it's like a full, it's like a full circle moment.
Like with instead of seeking it externally, you needed to find it within.
Exactly.
And that depends on, and that's up to the person and where they're at on their journey.
And it's really all about respecting where each and every one is. And this just doesn't apply to, you know, your relationship with your parent, but just where anybody else, like, on their journey, respecting where they are at and their opinion. Like they are very valid to feel the emotion that they are feeling, which is hard because we make it personal. We make everything so personal, but it's not. Yeah. Nothing is personal.
Yeah. And for the listener, for the writer, her daughter, I want to get your guys' perspective on this because her daughter is blaming her. She is blaming her for her trauma, and that's hard. So it would be hard not to take it personally in that instance because she's blaming her, but that is showing where your daughter is on her journey. She hasn't accepted her responsibility, and maybe she hasn't seen herself enough for her to see you and your pain, because you gave her exactly what you could give her, because you parented her in the way that you were most likely parented, or you tried to do better than what your parents gave you, because that's the cycle. That's what we do. But it's hard to take that not personally when someone is telling you, you did this to me.
That's what my mom did at first. That's what she did at first. Or again, I'm not saying what you're doing because I mentioned this before. It sounds like she's, wanting, but that is what my mom did when I came to her at first with the anger, because when I came to her with the anger at first, it was like hard for her to take, and it would be like, why can't you get over it? She pushed it away, and that was even more hurtful for me. But what the universe was showing me is, honey, you can't rely on the external validation. You can't rely on it coming from your mom. You need to find it from within first. So again, going back to like what you're saying, it's based on, it's where the person is at. But what you're saying, Holly, it is hard not to take it personally. Of course you're going to.
We wanted to take a moment to share something special with you. We have been hosting monthly virtual healing seminars. These gatherings are led by us and all about women coming together, supporting each other, and healing in community. All the proceeds we make from these circles go directly to funding this podcast. If you're looking for a meaningful way to support us, we would love to have you join our next virtual healing seminar. Check out the link in the show notes to register now. We truly appreciate your support and love having you as part of our community.
Also, I want to bring up like even the daughter blaming. I was that daughter. I did that. I blamed my mom, but I needed to. And it was only through that. It was only through the blaming and pointing the finger and not taking and being the victim where I was able to come full circle. So again, really trusting the process and like the chaos of it, even like the darkest and crappiest parts of the separation and going through it are so important. And these are the parts where like we don't want to talk about it, we don't want to discuss it because of how painful it is. But it's like, I'm so happy that I blamed my mom. I'm so happy that I was a victim for a long time because I needed to come to this place, to come to this conclusion.
It's a part of the process.
It's a part of the process. And there's no shame in that. Yeah. No shame, because it was so necessary. And now the way I look at my mom, like I love her. And like makes me so emotional because I can't live without her. And like I did that. I needed to come full circle to be like, no, mom, like I choose you. I choose you to be in my life. I choose myself. And like we're able to come together, you know, like full circle fucking moment.
I know that I want to hear what you have to say because you're about to say something.
Yes.
There's one thing I want to say really quick. The choosing. You saying you chose your mom. It's remembering that even if she's giving you a hard time now, her soul chose you. And her soul knows that, even if her human self is not there yet. So remember that.
Yes. And I want to say, too, you touched on unconditional love. Really showing your daughter in this time unconditional love. This is teaching you how to unconditionally love. That is the mother's role. Unconditional love. Show your daughter that. Pray for her. Pray for her healing.
And hold space.
Yes. Hold space. And what can you do to focus on you and fill your cup up so you have the capacity when she comes to you to hear her, hear the hard, listen to her, validate how she feels, validate yourself first. You need to validate yourself, your feelings. She needs to do that for herself, but know when she comes to you, you have met yourself so deeply and taking care of yourself, you can hold space for her. You can love her unconditionally, even when she says the hard things. It's that unconditional love. And I really feel called to tell you, what do you need to do for you to take care of yourself right now? Because this is stressful and you're putting a lot of energy into it. Obviously, it's your daughter. I can't imagine having that relationship. It's like, how can you start taking care of yourself? Do your healing. What are your mother wounds? Maybe this is something coming up for you. It's a reflection of where do you need boundaries, you know, and
maybe abandonment wounds too. You know, being left by somebody that like, you know, you want in your life. I don't know why. That came through too.
Yeah.
I want to say something too. You mentioned that you once had a beautiful relationship with your daughter and there was lots of laughter, and what I feel, and you know, like being hopeful and whatnot too, it's like I feel like if when you're able to mend that relationship, it's going to be so much deeper, because sometimes you need, like, there's wounds in most relationships, you know what I mean? There's going to be, especially in parental child relationships, there's going to be. And while maybe you had those beautiful moments, maybe there was suppressed pain, suppressed anger. And in order to deepen the relationship, these wounds need to come to surface. They need to be healed. They need to be brought forward. But if you're able to get to the other side, and this is where free will comes in. Sorry, sometimes I like speak too fast and I mumble over my own words. But sometimes this is where free will comes in. So I'm hopeful and I'm praying as well that your daughter does find her way on this path as well. But I'm hopeful that if that happens, your relationship will be even deeper than what it once was. So it's not even like hoping to go back in time. You know what I mean? Oh, I wish it was the past. I wish it was the past. It's being hopeful. This is happening so that we can strengthen and deepen our relationship in the future.
Yeah. Yes. And something too, when she does come to you and you've done that to strengthen the relationship, you also being at a place where you can take ownership of things that you may have done wrong. I think that not that you did it intentionally, but you can only give her what you have. And I know if your daughter's 30, that your generation wasn't cultivated to feel their emotion, wasn't cultivated to be like touched and loved and feel safe to express themselves and feel your emotions. It was very much like suppressed. And I feel like a lot what I hear and see is like out of sight, out of mind, go to your room if you're crying, like unable to feel emotions. And our generation, your daughter is 30, I'm 31, Brittany's 30, Natalia's 28. So like for us, it's like we are learning how to feel our emotions because we weren't taught that as children, because our parents didn't know how to do that. They weren't taught. There's been so much suppression. So realize what your daughter is feeling is valid, is totally valid, but so is yours. And I feel like she needs to do her internal work, give her space, give her time, show her unconditional love. You need to do your internal work. You're on your own spiritual journey. I know you said, what is spirit trying to teach me? How can you love yourself through this? How can you love yourself, not blame yourself for this? Continue to show yourself unconditional love as well. Take care of yourself and your needs, and be able to meet your daughter when she comes to you with so much love and compassion. Because something with my mom, like, I love my mom so much, like, genuinely, and I know she's listening. I love you so much, Mom. Like, I love you. And what is so beautiful is she listens to me. She hears me. She sees me. And I've processed so much from my childhood, and it's not. And she meets me. I'm not blaming her. I don't blame her for anything, because I see her childhood. I got to know her childhood, and it's like she sees me and hears me and loves me through it and doesn't take it personally. And when I feel that she's taking it personally, I validate that and I say, no, but I don't want you to take that personally, because I know you didn't receive that either. So it's such a beautiful relationship where we're healing together. We're healing together by having these vulnerable conversations. So with your daughter, meeting her where she's at, really hearing her, not taking it personally, you sharing more about yourself and your childhood. How can you be more open with your daughter as well? I feel, because my mom's been so open with me now about all of the things that she went through, and it's just beautiful to be able to really see each other and have these open conversations. It's healing. And I just want to preface too, when I would talk to my mom and be open about things that I was healing and working through, she wouldn't then come back and tell me things about her childhood. It was only from my healing that I asked her, tell me about your childhood. So then I could have a deeper understanding of where she was coming from and her wounds. So we can and then deeper understand the wounds in our family lineage as well. It's like, I only was able to learn about my mom's childhood because I met myself so deeply in my childhood wounds that I then wanted to learn about my mom and my dad's to get clear on, okay, where are their wounds coming from? And I could see them from such a lens of love and compassion, because I could then see what they went through.
Yes. Because of the work that you've done.
Yes.
Because you've done so much work. And like, I love that you say that, because yeah, if I were to, go to my mom about things and she was just to come back and say, oh, but such and such happened in my childhood, I wouldn't be at a place to receive that if I still had so much anger.
Right.
So, and people can only meet you as deeply as they have met themselves. Mm-hmm. And I love how you were talking about as well the generations, there's so much that, there was a lot of, trauma and wounds that I was unaware of. And I only became aware when I really started the healing. And I'm sure and I know that this is true for my mom. I know that my mom has so many wounds that she's been unaware of for so long. So of course, my mom loves her kids more than anything. And I've always known that. But like you were saying, she did her best based on the tools that she was given.
Right. Yeah.
She didn't know any better. And I do want to say, like, from someone who did have a strained relationship with my mom, it's gotten so much better. It really, really has. So I just want to send that hope out there. Like, there's hope out there. Like,
absolutely.
I genuinely, like, when I say I got to a place where I accepted me and my mom are never going to have a real relationship. And it made me really sad. And like, it's making me emotional because I was wrong, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I was wrong. Me and my mom are, it's beautiful. If my mom's listening, I don't know if she listens, but like, I love you, Mom. I really do.
Shout out to the moms.
Shout out to the moms. I feel like my mom is just so unaware of her wounds. She means the best. Like, and I know that you mean the best. And I don't want to throw things on you. I'm not saying, oh, you're unaware of your wounds. You know what I mean? But I know I was, especially because I had a loving mom. So I was confused for a really long time. I'm like, why do I feel this way? My mom loves me. You know what I mean? So, as Tolly was saying, as well, like reflecting on your childhood, maybe there are things there that you're unaware of yourself that maybe, you know what I'm saying? Because it's passed down. And again, I'm not trying to put things on you. I'm not.
No, but I think that's such a beautiful point, because our triggers are key gateways to figuring ourselves out. Like, why am I getting triggered? There's a reason why I'm getting triggered. And that comes from an unhealed part of you, of your journey. And it's beautiful. And I feel like it's so important to ask yourself the questions, like, sit with these like feelings that are coming up, these triggers, and say, like, where are they coming from? Why am I feeling like this? Where do I feel like this abandonment coming from? This like being left alone, like, you know, like losing this relationship that means like so much to me. And also, one of the things that I really wanted to bring up is remembering that both you and your daughter chose this lifetime, chose each other to be like the specific roles that you guys are playing in each other's lives, and to have this current separation that's happening for both of your highest and greatest goods. Everything is truly happening for you, for your soul's evolution, and that's for you and for your daughter. And sometimes we just get so caught up in like the emotion and like, oh, it's like this is like about like almost like this victim, like this, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me, it hurts so much, that we forget the bigger picture. Like, no, this is for my soul's evolution, this is for growth, this is for my becoming, you know, like it's so beautiful. But I understand how while you're in the midst of it, that's hard to see, you know?
Yeah, and something I just want to add is, and I, you know, got this message for myself, the train, I don't know if it's checking it up, but while on my healing journey, sometimes the souls that we choose to learn our hardest lessons are like the souls that love you so much, because they chose to be the bad guy so that you can learn. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I feel like it just, you know, if your soul chose to be the quote unquote bad guy for your daughter, it's because your soul loves her so much. And obviously you know that because you love her so much. But being human, we don't see that all the time. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you. I think that's so beautiful. Like, I feel like I needed that reminder as well, because it's so true. And like thinking back to like even, you know, like my relationship with my mom and even with my dad, like I needed them to be the villains in my story.
Something I do want to say too is there's a quote that I saw. It's like, the young can learn from the old as the old can learn from the young as the young can learn from the old. Like, know that you're meant to also be learning from this situation from your daughter, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? What is this trying to teach me? What is this trying to teach me? And really stepping into that unconditional love, truly, but knowing that you're not doing anything wrong. Like, you're good enough, you're showing up, you're being there for her. You're doing everything right. Like, don't be hard on yourself. Like, do not be hard on yourself.
Even you sending in this email shows how much you care.
Yes. So like
you're showing up.
Yeah. You're doing everything right. Like, genuinely, I just want you to know you're doing everything right. Keep being there for your daughter. Keep sending her loving energy. Keep showing up. Show up for yourself. This goes for everyone that's listening to this, you know, like, keep showing up for yourself. Know that you're good enough. You've always been good enough. And it's nothing, it's not personal. It's for both of your soul's evolutions. It's for both of your growth right now. So trust that, trust the guidance, continue to ask for guidance. What is this trying to teach me? And know that you will receive, maybe not in the way that you feel like is going to make sense for you, but it's going to make sense down the line. So just continue to trust the journey, trust the path, and know that, you're doing everything right. Like, thank you so much for writing in.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sweet. Yeah. This goes out to all the moms and daughters. This is deep. This is like deep work, but it's possible. It's possible to have a healthy relationship with your mom and your daughter. And it's you have it with your daughter. Yes. You're getting that with you and your mom. I have that with my mom, and it's the most beautiful, fulfilling relationship I have ever had. So know that it's possible. It really is.
Sorry to cut you off, but also knowing that, you know, even if you go through these hard times and these separations. Like, this is, again, like, and I know Brittany mentioned this, to rebuild and make this relationship stronger. So it's not like an end all be all, like, this is like just a chapter in your story, so just really, again, going back to what Holly said with the trusting, this is all happening for your highest and greatest good, for everyone listening, literally to everyone listening, this is all happening for your highest and greatest good.
But I think that we'll leave it there then for today.
Yes.
Thank you so much again for writing in. Thank you for being a part of this community. Again, if anyone listening has further advice, we'd love to hear it. And if you want to write in, we will be sure to have our email in the description below.
Yeah. It's the Multiple Truths Podcast 3 at gmail.com, in case if you're listening, but we'll put it in the show notes too for you guys. We'd love to hear from you.
I love you.
We love you.
Yes. Love you so much.
Mwah. Bye, guys.